It is what it is. So this is a VR to Piper Hallow's channel. I found this video from a good friend, Derek Carpenter. Hi there. She shared it with our soul sisters in one of the chats, and I decided to take a look at it. Little did I know that it was going to be one of those those wonderful coincidences that only in the witchy community can happen. I have been toying with the idea of retiring from the witchy community for about six to 8 months, and a lot of things have happened in those 6 to 8 months that actually have cemented my decision to actually retire from the whole community, which is strange because just 3 months ago I started the project of the Witches Haven to actually help the problems and situations that I was having within the community, to try to alleviate that same issue about the labels and about the competition and all of these abstract problems that other people were having. And I was trying to create these thought mediated space so we can all participate and show the whole of the community that there were different faces on witchcraft and for witchcraft. It didn't go as well as I planned. Not necessarily because of the product. We launched the website, we launched the virtual groups, the virtual covens. We the page was amazing, which it consequently ended up me not deleting, but putting a pause to the whole thing because it was that disappointing. And I'm going to put it that way, it was that disappointing. It is my experience, Piper, that in these virtual spaces that we share, that ultimately we find most of our information and interaction with people that are either practitioners or trying to become initiates to all of these different areas of witchcraft, that there are certain pockets in every single one of those communities and subcultures of witchcraft. They have their own interpretation of that, of what that should be. So there is a lot of people pretending to be the captain of the ship, and there are not enough sailors to go around. So there is a lot of competition, and like you mentioned, they create their own realities in their head and their own pantheons and mythologies. And unfortunately, a lot of people that are trying to find themselves within these pockets and within these communities, unfortunately, they get sucked in and unfortunately assimilated by the label. I am so disappointed. I am so disappointed at the community itself because it rewards it rewards the bad actors and actually pushes away real substance and real knowledge and something that can contribute something beneficial and free to the community. And that in itself has become a scar, and I'm going to put it that way, a scar, because yes, it can be healed, but boy, is it there, and it's going to be there for a long time. And I don't know how to feel about it anymore. When my experience came in the reverse, I was teaching in the personal one-on-one, doing consultations in person, doing lectures in local universities in the anthropology department, and doing my studies going hand in hand with my emotional and yes, even psychic development. And I'm going to use that particular word because the ups and downs of us growing mentally and growing in our emotional body has taken its time. Even though I was born into what some people would call cultural practice, um, I had the privilege to actually practice different denominations and different aspects of what we would call witchcraft. It's not the same here that in the Caribbean or in Africa, where, like you have mentioned, unfortunately, there are certain sectors of, and not only there, but in Russia and in other people where, and China, that religion of any kind or even practices such as witchcraft can land you in jail or even being lynched by a mob. And I have had apprentices that unfortunately have fallen into that category. So I know, but I'm going to put what you said is 100% correct. But this is from what I have experienced, seeing people that are afraid that they're going to get caught with their Bible or with uh, their witchy book, or it doesn't matter because it falls into all of those categories, that they're afraid as either their faith, their practice, or their life. And it makes me so angry that here in the West we have taken that for granted. We had culture appropriated whatever the freak we want, and then tell other people that that's their culture, that they're doing it wrong. This is how disgustingly spoiled we are as a people. And that to me is emotionally devastating, because it's emotionally devastating for the simple fact that I can relate to both sides. I have literally broken bread with atheists, Satanists, angel worshippers, Iconian magicians, Wiccans, and Alexandrians, and Palo Majombe, and Haitian voodoo priestesses. Um, this whole amalgamation of different cultures and pantheons and beliefs have have given me the opportunity to see that I am not that special, and that I am not that unique in the sense of my practice. And when I say it like that, this is coming from a person that came from the outside a long time ago, over 20 years ago, that came from one of those archaic practices that many people would consider in the West as an archaic practice, coming from the mixture of that religious iconography of the Catholic mixed with the spiritualism of Kardec, and on top of that, whatever remnants of this movement by Gardner that ended up being the Wicca. Me being a child of the 90s, I can relate to the charm and all of those movies and the craft. And I knew even back then that that was not the reality for every practitioner. But there is a lot of people that, even well into the practicing for years, they don't care about that. Their vision or their that this is how you know how small the world of these people really is, because they cannot see past their own nose. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of people that are trying to find themselves within the craft. And I can totally relate to the message of 2 o'clock in the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of the day. Hey, what is up with this? Can I conjure that? What is the correspondence for this specific herb? And I do this internationally, not only with Wiccans, Alexandrians, and Dionysians, or the ones that declare that decided that they want to worship, for example, another culture's pantheon. No, I'm talking about an international web of different practices. It's not the same when you interact with a person, for example, that only follows their, of course, their culture in Africa or in Iceland or in Mexico or Even here in the States, in the Appalachian Mountains, where there is so many fascinated magic that have going up down those mountains for years in the trail. We're too spoiled thinking that we are the biggest shit out there. So unfortunately, it clashes, and finding that balance, of I know what I know because of my experience, but I respect what you know because of your experience. Some people don't have that. And unfortunately, some will never have it. And that's what I have noticed. That's what I have learned from being directly dealing with people in social media and during the podcasts and the videos and the different projects. It's a space where you can create your own truth and then push yourself to become king. And I have seen that over and over again. And those are the kind of people that unfortunately you cannot negotiate with to try to bring them a tad into that reality, because remember, in magic and witchcraft, it's all about the illusion. It's all about us negotiating with our higher self so we can bring out and manifest what we want to. And not everybody's going to do it the same way, I guess. And part of their process is by declaring themselves the giver of knowledge and the acknowledgement of labels, which is fascinating because most of these people don't even know their own history. Most of these priests, high priestesses, and even what have you, shamans that they call themselves, don't even know their own story, their own history about their own practice. And when somebody else pins them in that specific where they have no idea what the hell they're being told, that triggers a reaction. Coming to this impasse that I have no right to tell nobody else that they're right or wrong, but I have to choose whether or not to allow somebody else to demean or belittle my practice. So even though I love doing this, my experience in the broader community, it's to, like many things in this country, we belittle intelligence, we belittle wonder, we belittle giving, we belittle sharing, and we enhance ego, we enhance taking away, we enhance even the possibility of the lie and the use of other people's emotional state or belief or faith to their own gain. And I have seen many of my heroes just turn into men of clay, men and women of clay, because I have seen reach that spot where there is no turning back on that one. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's a shame. It's a real shame, because among the many manifestations that wonder and energy and becoming one in this transition and what many people call samsara or enlightenment, we see that deep within the spiritual community, we're still so lost, and we lie to ourselves. We run away from truth. We yell because we don't understand. And it's really tragic, because the ones that really have something to actually give and to show are completely discouraged from ever sharing any type of information, because there's so many people lying through their teeth, and knowingly so. But in this realm is so easy, like you said, to just sell the illusion of knowledge, that it's devastating. It's really devastating. And it took me being this sick because of the plague. I can say that I survived the plague. Please, not now. To say that there are few things in life that they're not worth my time or my energy. And it's sad, it's tragic, but I came into this community with, I found was another version of the what many people will call 3D reality. But so much potential and is lost because of the labels. So whenever the community is ready or not to acknowledge that, I have no idea, because I have seen this for so long that I just lost interest. I lost interest in participating at all. And the fact that we take something so simple as a festival of May, the significance or correspondences, and no, that's not what it means. Let's celebrate life. Let's celebrate connection. Let's celebrate what we have in front of us and be grateful for it. There's people around the world as we speak that don't have this opportunity. They cannot go on video and tell their story. They cannot ask on Facebook a question because they are being monitored. And I wish it was bullshit, but it is what it is. I wish we could see how lucky we are that we have these spaces, that we can even virtually break bread with people from around the world. And we don't see that we can learn from their meditations, their prayers, their rituals, their music, their connection, their plans, their experiences, the sights and the beauty of the other. I hope that someday we learn our lesson. I really do hope so. But up until then, that is the reality. So I really do hope that you get to see this. I'm going to upload it to the Witches Haven YouTube channel as the last one, as the last YouTube video, because unfortunately that's not the vision that we had for this. And yes, there is these wonderful and very different women from different practices from all over the country that were trying to bring something different, and it just got lost in the bickering and fighting of other people. And I honestly don't think it's worth it, especially in this environment that we have to be as mindful and thoughtful and bringing to that place of being grateful for just being alive. That is not the kind of negativity that at least I don't want to participate in. Because even if I don't actively participate in the back and forth or in the opinion side of it, which that's also dangerous, me being a bystander and seeing it, it takes a tremendous toll on my emotional health. So it's not. So blessed be to all the witches out there. Practice what's in your heart improvisation and the flow of what comes natural. It's the key to finding the acceptance and finding the self-love that you're looking for from the beginning. Is your truth, not her truth, his truth, or some made-up witch in Hollywood. It's all about what's inside you. And for those Christian witches, like it says in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the kingdom of God is inside you and all around you, not in buildings of wood and stone. And for all of those of you that are trying to find their way, don't stop. It's your journey, and it's worth it. It's completely worth it. So, blessed be. Bendiciones.